Hi, my name is Norman. Welcome back. You know, people say you buy a 3D printer just to print parts for your 3D printer. So today I'm actually going to pimp my 3D printer a little bit, and somehow I managed to mess up a print twice. Well, I just combined the parts which worked, and now it's currently drying off camera. Wait, maybe I can hold it up. See, this is okay. This is currently drying, and I thought this would be a good idea to start the video right now. Here on my magic notebook you can see, well, okay, this is actually my upcoming project, which I'm maybe going to talk about later, but this is what I did. So there are 4 prints which I did. Why am I actually telling this? It will make a lot more sense if I just demonstrate you how I... But just to let you know, all these prints are made to increase the usability of the printer. I will add some LEDs, I will add cable management, and well, let's just start right away. I think that glue is ready, is it? No, it's not. Okay, the first part is this one. Wait a second, Do you have an idea what this part is doing? Probably not, is it? Okay, this is the cable here, which is, well, basically powering the extruder and everything down below. It's currently held up with a zip tie and it's looking ugly, and also it gives too much freedom for the cable to move around. I just want to have it, you know, move nicely in just one direction like this. Well, let's get rid of the zip tie then. This cable can now later sit very, very tight, but still, you know, like this. So let's glue this. So well, for the glue I'm using a double component epoxy because, well, it's built, it's just gonna last forever. It's actually also the same stuff which I'm currently using to glue these parts in the back. You know, to mix those both components together, I found out that filaments here are actually kind of nifty solution. Well, because it's cheap, and also you probably have this lying around if you have a 3D printer. I'm just gonna put a little bit here inside, and well, I'm trying to get an even spread inside here, and then, well, just pop this on like that. It's drying. Next parts are actually these 2. I actually only planned on printing one of those, but because, you know, because I messed the print up already, I thought I'm just gonna print the second one anyway. Once the big cable is fixed, of course the filament is still flying around as it wishes, more or less. So these things are going to help guiding the filament, and also have a little bit, you know, it's just looking a little bit nicer, and you also have a little bit more control about which way your filament is going, even though it doesn't quite really matter. It just looks better. Okay, so this is my filament box, which I printed or built in another video. Well, because there in the back side is actually my plant, which is called Planty McPlant Face, by the way. I thought it would be a good idea to put this over here, but just because reasons, I think it's better to put it back on the right side of the printer. So I'm going to move everything a little bit, just slightly, so that there will be a little bit more space here, and then you know, just put that box this way, right here. That also looks nice. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so now we need to find a place or a route where we can guide our filaments, and I think here the top is actually pretty nice. Is it? Like, I'm just a little bit eyeballing what to do and where to route this thing. Well, at first I thought actually I wanted to put these rings this way, or, you know, on the top. But now I saw this part here and I thought it would be actually cool to guide them over this corner somehow. And you know, I think that on this corner is nice. So I need to put my plant somewhere else. Or maybe this is wow. This is nice. Okay, we're just gonna add some glue again. Well, actually, a lot of glue. Here we go. You know what? I'm going to move that plant here to the left side. It's not gonna look as nice anymore, but it's going to be a lot more functional because reasons. Oh yeah. So now let's see if it's actually already dry enough to be mounted with the cable here. Ah, beautiful. Look at that. That actually looks kinda professional, but only a little bit. Well, and now the last big riddle. What are actually these 2 or 3 parts which have been off camera all the time? Well, I think this is this already? Yeah, it's more or less stable, it's okay. So these 2 things are actually going to form a bridge. I made these 2 cutouts so that, well, there will be tolerances when you print so that, you know, it can cover a different distance and I don't need to worry about a lot about, you know, being very accurate. It's just gonna work and it's easy and it's gonna be stable. Well, also on the bridges you will notice that I made this little, how's it called, arc whatsoever. It's gonna fill up the corners so that I don't have a right angle. I think this arc will help the LED strip to run over the bridge and I hope it's not going to fall off after 2 weeks. Second thing is, I messed this up twice. You can see, you know, it's actually supposed to be a straight line 2 times. I printed a banana, so I'm going to use the one which is less bent and call it a feature, I guess. It's this one, or this one is more uniformly bent, and this one is actually going to go on the bottom right next to the extruder, and it's also going to mount 1 piece of LED strip so that I have a light directly next to the extruder, which is going to help me a little bit with seeing. So let's do the bridge first. For that, you know, I got this double-sided foam tape. It's a little bit easier to handle than epoxy because it's a little bit more forgiving, and also, you know, it's just going to hold the LED strip, so I don't need that much power, right? So I think these foam tape, double-sided foam tape, is going to be more than enough to hold the weight of the LED strip. So the LED strip is actually supposed to run all the way here inside and then somehow over from top. So I'm just going to, I don't know yet. Actually going to put this a little bit more down. No, maybe move it a little bit up. So that's what I said about the tapes being a little bit more forgiving, because if you mess things up you can just remove it again. If I had used epoxy for that, I would have glue stains on my, well, on my printer. Okay, so now I'm just going to align these more or less and just hope it's going to fit, and well, okay, like that. So as you can see, it's not a perfect bridge, but it's going to be enough for the LED strip to actually run below it, I think. So I think it will do the job pretty well. I actually designed this cutout here to fit directly onto this plate, and as you can see, it works. But the problem is that on the other side, directly here on this side, is actually the heater, the extruder, where the filament gets melted. It's not good to have this side near the hot print head, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut this off. Okay, so while the glue is drying, let me show you this fancy RGB LED strip, which comes in a very, very nice box and very, very nicely arranged. I think it's a little bit overkill for just some LED strips, but it's very nice that they do it anyway. So this is the stuff which we are actually going to need Also, of course, this is the transformator, which is going to transform stuff. The thing which we are not going to need is this power brick, because we are going to use the 12 volts output of my 3D printer. So if you want to follow this build or do something similar, make sure that your 3D printer actually has a 12 volts output, that your power supply does that. You can read that in your manual if you haven't thrown it away as I did, or you can just measure it. So actually I do not want to do this, but you know, I really need that cable here. You know, this end is actually going to be connected to the power supply, which means I think, yeah, I need a little bit more cable, because these two connections are actually a little bit apart from each other. Okay, the good thing about these LED strips is actually that you can just cut them any couple of centimeters. I think these are 5, so I'm just going to take 2 of them and hope it's 10. It should be 10, is it? Yeah, looks about 10, which is enough for me. So this piece of LED strip is actually going to be directly next to the extruder. Well, to connect these we need to do a little bit of soldering work, because, well, how are we going to get electricity from the rest of the LED strip, which is going to run around the printer, to the print head? And, you know, soldering is the only way. So of course I'm going to color code these. We are going to take red, green and blue for each color channel, and white for power. Okay, I think white and power is a bad combination nowadays. We're gonna have gray for power now. I actually don't know how much I need, and because these cables are not that expensive, I'm just going to take more than I probably will ever need. Let's do this. Okay, so I'm done, and basically you can see I used a little bit of hot glue just to cover up my messy job and also to keep the cables from touching each other. Now actually we are ready to measure out how much of those we will need, you know, going once around the printer, and then we can solder these one together with this, and then we are going to include everything into that cable management of the printer, and then hopefully it's going to light up once we connect this one here to the power supply. This is the plan. Okay, so we have very limited space here because, well, it's a corner. Unfortunately, you can't see what I'm doing, but basically I'm connecting the cables. If you have a DIY 3D printer, you probably should know what I'm actually doing. Yeah, you're not going to miss much anyway, is it? So now this cable is actually connected to the power supply. I want to turn everything on before I actually connect the LED strips to everything. In case of a short circuit, this is reducing the stuff I'm going to break. Let's give it a try. Well, okay, 3D printer is running without any flaws, I guess. So this one is not causing anything, because it shouldn't. There's no connection here. I'm just working by the motto, better safe than sorry, you know, so double check and be happy later. Okay, so this one goes in here, this one goes in there, and if everything is right, are we going to turn it on? We are going to turn it on. Oh yeah, it's working, and also this end piece is also working, which is some very great news, and I'm happy. Let's connect everything. I also need to set the remote to less annoying. cool is that? Like, so good thing about this RGB strip is actually that it's RGB. We can remote control it. You know, we can switch to any thinkable color, which is not working right now. Oh, right. Maybe the colors are horrible because there is actually 12.8 volts running through that and not just 12.0, because I measured it before, but I thought, okay, 0.8 volts is not gonna break anything, I hope. Maybe it's gonna burn down. Most important thing is actually that it has light. I'm very pleased and happy about the results because it just looks, it looks like it has been shipped like this. This is the ultimate goal of 3D printing. Making stuff which looks like it's sold out there. Of course, you can download every single part I printed so that you can do that by yourself as well for your own printer in case you have one. And also, of course, the bridge will work first try. I think it can adjust from any length between 30 centimeters and 34 maybe. So if your printer is bigger or smaller, you need to adjust that or just build the parts yourself because they're not very complicated. The thing which is holding the light next to the extruder, I actually didn't change anything on that. So if you have the same Prusa i3 3D printer as I do, you need to also cut off the part because it's going to be very, very close to the print head and it's going to melt and you don't want that, so just cut it off and glue it directly on it. So I think we are all going to be very happy, especially me, maybe, probably. So thanks for watching, thanks for checking out. If you have any questions, let me know, please. Let me know. I'm willing to help wherever I can. Yeah, see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.
Yeah.